He was just fixing the bed until she declared him her husband. HFY Reddit. Ethan Cole wiped his hands on a rag as he looked at the strange bed in the corner of the room. It was not an ordinary bed. It belonged to Princess Kara, the youngest royal of the Thalvan Empire. Its frame was tall, with strange glowing panels that adjusted automatically, and the mattress seemed almost alive, shifting slightly under his touch. Ethan had fixed many human machines before, but this was different. Alien technology was always a challenge, and royal alien technology, even more so. He reminded himself to stay calm and focus on the job. After all, he was just here to fix a bed, nothing more. The room smelled faintly of alien flowers. The walls were smooth and pearlescent, reflecting the light softly. Ethan noticed the intricate patterns etched into the floor and ceiling, but he didn't let himself get distracted. He pulled out his tools, carefully examining the bed's mechanisms. He had been called to the quarters because the bed had malfunctioned, shifting unevenly whenever someone lay on it. Apparently, it had thrown the princess slightly, though she had refused to complain openly. "Do you need help?" a voice said suddenly, melodic and firm. Ethan looked up. Princess Kara was standing at the doorway, her eyes fixed on him. She was taller than most humans, with pale lavender skin and long flowing hair that shimmered like spun silver. Her expression was curious, not angry, but there was an intensity in her gaze that made Ethan slightly nervous. "No, I think I've got it," he said, smiling politely. "Just need a few more adjustments." He crouched down, loosening a panel at the base of the bed. "Your bed has some very unusual wiring. I haven't seen anything like this before." Kara tilted her head, studying him carefully. "Humans are clever," she said. "I am curious to see how clever you are." Ethan chuckled softly. "I'll do my best." He worked methodically, adjusting the frame and tightening screws that seemed impossibly small. As he worked, he noticed how Kara's eyes followed his every move. She did not interrupt, but her presence was strong, almost like the room itself was aware of her. Ethan had been trained to stay focused, but he found himself glancing up more often than he should. After some time, the bed seemed stable. Ethan pressed a button to test the mechanisms. It rose smoothly, shifted slightly, then returned to its original position without any trouble. He leaned back on his heels, satisfied. "There. That should do it. You shouldn't have any problems. Now?" Kara stepped closer, her expression unreadable. "You did well," she said. Her voice had a strange musical tone, and Ethan felt a shiver of both pride and unease. He had fixed a complicated machine, but somehow it felt like more than just a job. Before he could respond, Kara did something unexpected. She placed her hand gently on his shoulder. Ethan froze. The touch was light, but it carried a weight he couldn't explain. He had been trained to respect personal boundaries, and this was unlike anything he had experienced. "You are chosen," she said softly, almost to herself. "You are mine now." Ethan blinked. "Wait, what?" He stepped back, confused. "I'm just here to fix your bed, that's all." Kara's eyes sparkled with curiosity. "No. In our ways, one who repairs the resting place of a royal shows trust, loyalty, and care. You have proven yourself worthy." Ethan swallowed. He had heard of some strange customs in alien cultures, but nothing like this. "Worthy for what?" he asked carefully, trying to keep his voice calm. "For partnership. You are now declared my bondmate," Kara said, her tone firm but not cruel. "You will share a bond with me, as our tradition requires." Ethan shook his head slowly. I don't think I understand. I wasn't trying to. This is a mistake." He gestured toward the bed. "I just fixed the bed. That's all I did." Kara tilted her head, as if studying a puzzle. "Humans are curious. You resist, yet you accept responsibility. I find this intriguing." Ethan felt his stomach tighten. This was not something he could explain with simple words. It was not like a mechanical problem he could fix. This was alien law, alien tradition, and somehow he was the center of it. He realized that refusing could cause offense, and offending a royal alien could have serious consequences for the human colony. "Okay," he said slowly, trying to remain calm. "Let's talk about this. I don't want to disrespect your culture, but I also need to understand what this means." Kara nodded slightly, her eyes still fixed on him. "We will talk. But know this, human. You are no longer just a visitor. You are part of my life now, whether you realize it or not." Ethan ran a hand through his hair, trying to calm his racing thoughts. He had come to this colony to repair machines, not to navigate royal politics or alien customs. Yet here he was, in a room with a princess, suddenly declared her partner, and facing a tradition he barely understood. As he took a deep breath, he reminded himself of one thing. He was human, resourceful, clever, and adaptable. Somehow he would figure this out. He had no choice but to. The princess smiled faintly, and for a moment the room seemed calm again. Ethan returned to the bed, examining the final details. It was just a bed, he told himself. Just a bed. Yet he couldn't shake the feeling that nothing would ever be just a bed again. Ethan sat stiffly on a chair near the bed, his tools forgotten at his feet. The air in the room felt heavier than before, charged with the weight of an alien custom he barely understood. Princess Kiera moved closer, walking with a quiet, graceful confidence that made Ethan feel both nervous and curious. "You do not understand," she said softly, sitting across from him. "In the Thalvan Empire, when someone repairs the resting place of a royal, it is more than a task. It is a promise." Ethan leaned forward. "A promise?" he asked carefully. "I didn't mean to make a promise. I was just fixing the bed. That's all." Kara's eyes glimmered. "That is exactly why you are chosen. You did not act for reward or recognition. You acted because it was needed. That is the mark of trustworthiness. That is why our tradition considers you worthy of bond." Ethan ran a hand through his hair, trying to process what she said. "Okay, so in your culture, fixing a bed makes me your bondmate?" "Yes," Kara replied, nodding. "It is not just a title. It is a connection that carries responsibility, loyalty, and partnership. One who refuses without understanding risks dishonor." Ethan leaned back, blinking. He had dealt with difficult machinery, temperamental engines, and even rogue AI, but this was completely different. "I don't want to dishonor anyone. I respect your culture, I really do. But I'm human. I don't understand all of your traditions, and I can't just accept something I barely understand." Kara studied him for a long moment. "Humans are curious creatures," she said finally, a hint of amusement in her voice. "You resist, yet you are willing to learn. That is rare. Most species would obey blindly or rebel completely. You are neither. That is why you intrigue me." Ethan let out a nervous laugh. "Well, I guess that's one way to put it. But what exactly does this bond mean? Do I live here now? Follow rules I don't know? Wear some strange uniform?" Kara smiled faintly. "It does not require blind obedience. It requires respect, understanding, and care. You will learn our ways and we will learn yours. You are not forced, but refusing after understanding would be considered dishonorable. You see, this is both an honor and a challenge." Ethan's mind raced. He was just an engineer called here to repair a piece of furniture. Now, he was the center of a centuries-old tradition he barely understood. Challenge, huh? Sounds like my kind of work. Sometimes, but I still don't know if I'm ready for this. For you, or for your empire. Kara's expression softened. "You need not be ready immediately. This is a process. Today you will begin to understand. Tomorrow, you may begin to accept or decline. But know this. Knowledge and respect are as important as courage. Many have failed because they misunderstood what bond truly means." Ethan swallowed. He wanted to protest, to insist that he was just here to do a job, but he realized protesting too strongly might be taken the wrong way. He took a deep breath. Okay, then I will try to understand. I can do that. I'll learn. But I'm warning you, I have my own ideas and I won't follow blindly. Keira's eyes brightened. Good. That is exactly what I wish to see. The bond is strongest when both sides contribute, not when one obeys blindly. I respect your honesty, human. That is unusual. They spent the next hour talking. Ethan asked questions about Thalvan customs, their culture, and the meaning behind rituals he had never heard of. Keira answered patiently, explaining the significance of small gestures, the symbolism of hand placement, and the traditions surrounding care and respect. Ethan noticed he was not only learning about her culture but also seeing patterns and logic behind it. Despite the strangeness, there was a reason in everything, a system that valued loyalty, trust, and cleverness. He even found himself impressed by the subtle ways Thalvan society balanced duty with personal freedom. Finally, Keira leaned back slightly, her gaze still on him. You have begun to understand. That is the first step. Tomorrow we will continue. I will show you more of our world, and you will see what bond truly means beyond the bed, beyond this room. Ethan nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and tension. He was still confused, but now he had a plan. Learn first, react second. He could not refuse without understanding, and maybe, just maybe, he could make sense of all this without causing offense. As he packed his tools to leave, Keira's voice stopped him. Human, remember? Trust is earned, not demanded. You have shown trust without thinking. That is rare. Remember it. Ethan smiled faintly. I'll try. But trust me, I'm better with machines than people sometimes. Keira's soft laughter echoed in the room. We shall see, human, we shall see. Ethan left the quarters that day feeling a mix of anxiety, curiosity, and awe. What had started as a simple bed repair had become something far more complicated. He didn't know how this bond would unfold, but one thing was clear. Nothing about this colony, this princess, or this empire would ever be ordinary again. As he walked through the softly glowing corridors, he reminded himself quietly, humans were adaptable, clever, and resourceful. If anyone could navigate alien customs, it would be him. Somehow he would survive this challenge, and maybe, just maybe, he would even enjoy it. The next morning, Ethan returned to the royal quarters, feeling a mix of anticipation and nerves. The air smelled faintly of alien blossoms, and the soft light reflected off the pearlescent walls, giving the room a serene glow. Princess Keira was already there, seated on a low platform, observing him as he entered. Good morning, human, she said, her voice calm but carrying that same strange intensity. Today you will learn more about our world, not as a visitor but as someone who has begun the bond. Ethan swallowed. I guess that's a good thing, right? Keira tilted her head, studying him. It is, but understanding is not given. It is earned. You will observe, participate, and learn. Only then will you truly comprehend what bond means. Ethan nodded, determined. He had always been quick to adapt to new machines and environments. Maybe he could do the same here. All right, I'm ready. Keira stood and gestured toward a large window overlooking the colony. The Thalvan Empire values connection, not only between our people but with our surroundings. You will see today how humans and Thalvan differ and where we might find common ground. They walked through the corridors, and Ethan noticed how differently the Thalvan lived. Their halls were open and filled with natural light, and every room had subtle mechanisms that adjusted automatically to the needs of the people inside. Some panels moved to provide seating, others changed the light to match the time of day, and soft vibrations in the floor seemed to guide the walkways toward important areas. Ethan marveled at the ingenuity. You notice these things easily, Keira said. Many visitors overlook them. I'm trained to notice patterns, Ethan replied. Machines, systems, people sometimes. I guess my brain just likes to solve puzzles. Keira's lips curved in a faint smile. Then you will do well. Today we will begin your first test. not of strength but of understanding and cleverness. They arrived at a large chamber filled with intricate machines, panels, and devices of unknown purpose. "This," Kara explained, "is our training room. Here, Thalvin develops skills that are not only physical but mental and social. Humans rarely endure it successfully, but you are not like other humans. You will try." Ethan glanced at the room. He had no idea what any of the devices did. Some seemed to shift unpredictably. Others emitted strange lights and soft hums. Okay. Where do I start?" "You start where you can," Kara said simply. "Observe, interact, and adapt. Do not rely on strength alone. You will need cleverness, patience, and courage." Ethan stepped forward cautiously, testing the floor panels. One shifted slightly under his weight, revealing a hidden lever. He pulled it, and a platform rose, carrying a small floating orb toward him. The orb hovered at eye level, glowing faintly. He remembered his engineering training. Every mechanism has a function. Every pattern has a purpose. Carefully, he moved, to follow the orb's path, pressing buttons and shifting panels in a sequence he guessed. Kara watched silently, her eyes attentive. "Good. You do not panic. You observe and adjust. That is why you were chosen." As he continued, the chamber's challenges became more complex. Panels shifted unexpectedly, orbs moved faster, and some devices emitted soft pulses that affected the floor. Ethan stumbled a few times, but he quickly corrected himself, learning from each mistake. Unlike most humans who might have given up, he adapted quickly. Hours passed, and Ethan's confidence grew. He was learning the rhythms of the chamber, understanding how to read subtle cues, and predicting the behavior of each device. Kara occasionally offered guidance, but mostly she let him figure things out on his own. Finally, Ethan reached the center of the chamber. A large panel rose, revealing a glowing emblem, a symbol of achievement. He touched it, and the room quieted. Kara stepped forward, her expression filled with approval. "You have completed your first test," she said. "Not through strength, not through obedience, but through understanding. That is the path of bond. Many fail here, human. You have succeeded." Ethan exhaled, relief washing over him. I did it? Wow, that was intense." Kara nodded. "Intense, yes, but necessary. The bond is not merely about agreement, it is about learning, adapting, and proving your worth in thought, action, and care. Today, you have shown all three." Ethan smiled, a mix of pride and exhaustion on his face. He realized that while the challenge was difficult, he had enjoyed it. He had always liked puzzles and problems, and this was the most unusual and rewarding puzzle he had ever faced. "Tomorrow," Kara said, "you will face new challenges. More complex, more social, more revealing. But for now, you have taken your first step. Remember, human, the bond grows not by force but by choice, by effort, and by understanding. You have begun well." As Ethan left the chamber, he felt a strange sense of accomplishment. Fixing a bed had led him here, to a test of mind and patience he had never expected. Yet for the first time, he felt that he might actually be able to navigate this alien world, and maybe even earn the respect of a princess who had declared him her partner. The following day, Ethan returned to the royal quarters, still carrying the memory of the previous day's challenges. His mind was buzzing with strategies and observations. The Thalvin Empire was unlike anything he had ever encountered. Their culture was complex, layered, and meticulous, yet strangely logical once he started to understand it. Today he would face a new kind of test, one that went beyond machines and puzzles, a test of diplomacy and understanding. Princess Kara was waiting for him in the hall, her posture calm, but her eyes sharp and observant. "Good morning, human. Today you will meet others who will observe your actions. The bond is not only about understanding me, but also how you interact with our people." Ethan swallowed nervously. "So, social tests. Got it. I can do that." Kara led him to a large chamber filled with alien diplomats and council members. Some were tall and lithe, others short with multiple arms, and all of them wore expressions of curiosity and subtle judgment. Ethan felt a wave of apprehension. While he was confident with machines, navigating social interactions, especially alien ones, was a completely different challenge. The council members spoke among themselves in a language Ethan could not understand, though Kiera translated for him. "They are discussing the bond," she said quietly. "They want to know if you are worthy, not only as my partner, but as a representative of your species." Ethan nodded, trying to appear calm. "I'll do my best." Kiera gestured to a small table with several interactive devices. "You will demonstrate your understanding of our culture through action. Observe first, then participate. Do not guess blindly." Ethan studied the devices carefully. They required cooperation, communication, and subtle coordination with others. He realized that this challenge was designed to test not strength or intelligence alone, but adaptability and teamwork. He remembered what he had learned yesterday. Observe, understand patterns, adjust, and act. As he interacted with the devices, Ethan noticed the council watching closely. They whispered among themselves, nodding or frowning at different moments. He made mistakes at first, pressing buttons too early, misinterpreting signals, but he quickly adapted. He paid attention to Kiera's subtle cues, to the reactions of the aliens around him, and adjusted his approach. Slowly, he began to succeed. Panels lit up in sequence, objects moved smoothly from one platform to another, and he coordinated actions with alien participants who initially seemed skeptical of his presence. The room grew quiet as the final task completed successfully. Kiera stepped forward, her expression calm but proud. "You have observed, understood, and adapted. That is the essence of the bond. Many humans would have failed, but you have not." Ethan exhaled, feeling relief and pride. "I guess I'm getting the hang of this." Slowly, the council members murmured among themselves. One elder, with deep green skin and 3 eyes, stepped forward. "Human," he said in a voice that rumbled like distant thunder. "You show cleverness and patience. That is rare among your kind. You also demonstrate respect for our customs. You may not yet fully grasp all our traditions, but you have the potential to honor them." Ethan nodded humbly. "Thank you. I'm learning. I promise to do my best." Another, diplomat, smaller and with 6 delicate arms, tilted its head. "You are unusual, human. Most of your species either resist or follow blindly. You do neither. This is intriguing." Kiera smiled faintly. "You see, your uniqueness is what drew me to you. Humans may appear simple, but you have resourcefulness, curiosity, and courage, traits that are rare and valuable." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. He had always believed humans were clever, adaptable, and strong in ways others might not see. Now he realized that even in an alien empire, those traits could earn respect and recognition. The council concluded the session, and Kiera walked with Ethan back through the corridors. "You performed well today," she said. "You not only adapted, but you also gained respect. That is no small accomplishment." Ethan shrugged, trying to appear modest. "I guess I just applied what I know. Observe, understand, adjust, act. Works with machines, works with aliens, apparently." Kiera laughed softly. "Yes, that is the human way. Clever, resourceful, and unafraid to question. It is refreshing." As they reached the royal quarters, Ethan felt a sense of accomplishment. He was beginning to understand that the bond was not simply about following rules or obeying traditions. It was about mutual respect, learning, and demonstrating value in unique ways. For the first time, he felt a connection not just to Kiera, but to her world. He realized that being human, clever, adaptable, and brave in ways others might underestimate, was his greatest strength. The Thalvan might be ancient and powerful, but humans had a spark that could not be ignored. And maybe, just maybe, this spark was exactly what was needed to survive and thrive in this alien empire. Kara paused at the doorway, looking back at him. Tomorrow there will be a challenge that tests more than cleverness. It will test courage, heart, and trust. Are you ready for that, human? Ethan smiled faintly, determination in his eyes. I don't know what's coming, but yes. I'll be ready. The princess nodded approvingly, and for the first time Ethan felt that this bond, strange as it was, might become something meaningful. Not because of tradition, but because of respect, understanding, and the strength of being human. The morning air was cool and crisp as Ethan followed Princess Kara through the corridors of the palace. Today's challenge would be different from the previous ones. The Thalvan Council had decided that he must face the trial of proof, a traditional series of tests designed for warriors. Ethan felt a twinge of nervousness. He was not a soldier. His expertise was in machines, not combat. Yet as he walked, he reminded himself of one important fact. Humans were clever, resourceful, and adaptable. Kara led him to a large courtyard. The floor was made of polished stone, etched with patterns that glimmered faintly under the sunlight. Around the perimeter stood tall Thalvan warriors, each watching him silently. Some held long, curved staffs. Others had small devices strapped to their arms that hummed with energy. The trial was meant to test physical ability, mental strategy, and quick thinking all at once. You must understand, Kara said, her voice calm. The trial of proof is not merely about strength. It is about demonstrating your worth in ways you might not expect. Many fail because they rely only on force. You must use your mind as well. Ethan took a deep breath. All right, mind and body. I can do that. The first stage of the trial began immediately. Panels in the courtyard shifted beneath his feet, creating moving platforms and obstacles. Some rose, others tilted, and gaps appeared suddenly. Ethan carefully analyzed each movement, timing his steps and adjusting quickly whenever a platform shifted. He stumbled once but recovered, noticing patterns in the timing of the panels. Slowly he moved forward, adapting to the unpredictability of the floor. Next, a series of floating orbs appeared. They moved in unpredictable patterns, some glowing red, some blue. The warriors explained, without words, using gestures, that touching a red orb meant failure, but blue could be used to open gates or activate platforms. Ethan quickly realized that brute force would not help. He had to watch the orbs carefully, predicting their paths and using his engineering instincts to navigate safely. Sweat formed on his brow as the challenges grew more difficult. A sudden gust of wind from hidden vents knocked him off balance. He steadied himself by grabbing a nearby lever, which caused a platform to rise and create a temporary bridge. The crowd of warriors murmured quietly. They had never seen a human adapt so quickly, relying not on muscle but on clever thinking and observation. Finally, the last stage required him to unlock a gate using a puzzle embedded in the stone wall. The puzzle involved shifting panels to align symbols in a specific order, something he had never encountered before. Ethan analyzed it carefully. He noticed subtle hints in the shapes and timing of the panels. Using logic and patience, he moved the panels step by step, and the gate slowly opened. Kara stepped forward as he finished, her eyes bright with approval. You have completed the trial of proof, human. Not by strength alone, but through ingenuity, observation, and adaptability. That is the way of the bond. Many would have failed at this stage. You succeeded where others could not. Ethan wiped sweat from his brow, feeling a mixture of relief and pride. I did it? He asked, still catching his breath. Yes, Kara said firmly. You have shown qualities that are rare among your species. Courage, patience, cleverness, and the ability to adapt. You have proven that humans are not only capable, but exceptional. The Thalvan warriors stepped forward, some nodding respectfully, others offering faint smiles of approval. Ethan felt a surge of pride. He had entered the trial as a human engineer, untrained in alien combat, and had left it with their respect. One of the elder warriors, tall and imposing with deep green skin, stepped closer. Human, you have faced our trial and succeeded. Your methods are unorthodox, but your results are undeniable. You are clever, adaptable, and brave. Such qualities are rare, even among Thalvin. Ethan nodded humbly. Thank you. I did what I could. I just tried to think, observe, and act. That's what works for me. Kaira's expression softened. That is the essence of being human. Resourceful, determined, and willing to face challenges in unexpected ways. Today you have shown why I chose you, human. Not for tradition alone, but because your spirit is unique. As they walked back through the corridors of the palace, Ethan felt a new confidence. He had faced something far outside his comfort zone, and he had succeeded. More importantly, he realized that being human, clever, adaptive, and willing to think differently, gave him an advantage that many underestimated. You did well today, Kaira said quietly. Tomorrow will bring new challenges. They will test not only your skills but your courage and your heart. Are you prepared, human? Ethan smiled faintly. I don't know what's coming, but I'll be ready. I always find a way. Kaira nodded approvingly, and for the first time, Ethan felt that this strange bond born from fixing a bed was becoming something meaningful. Not just tradition, not just custom, but a genuine connection based on respect, trust, and the remarkable abilities of a human mind. As he left the courtyard, Ethan thought about how far he had come. From fixing a bed to facing a trial designed for warriors, he had proven that humans were capable, clever, and adaptable. He knew the next challenges would be harder, but he also knew that he was not just surviving. He was thriving in a world far beyond what he had ever imagined. The morning began quietly, with the soft light of the alien sun spilling into the corridors of the colony. Ethan thought the day would be like the others, tests, lessons, and observation. But he was wrong. Alarms rang suddenly, echoing through the palace and shaking the walls. Red lights flashed and a mechanical voice announced, "Unauthorized breach detected in the outer perimeter." Ethan's heart raced. He followed Kaira to a central observation platform where the view of the colony spread before him. Beyond the protective energy barriers, he could see small ships descending rapidly. "Attackers," Kaira said, her calm voice betraying a hint of concern. "A rival faction seeks to destabilize our colony. They will try to force submission or cause chaos. We must protect the people." Ethan swallowed, trying to focus. He had never faced a real battle. His experience had been with machines, computers, and engineering, not war. Yet, as he looked at the advancing ships, he realized that humans had a unique strength, the ability to think, adapt, and improvise under pressure. "We need a plan," he said quickly, scanning the colony layout. He noticed several defensive mechanisms that were either outdated or malfunctioning. Some of these systems won't hold. We can reroute power, use automated turrets, and create barriers to slow them down. I can help with that. Kaira's eyes widened slightly. "You are not trained for combat, human, are you certain?" Ethan nodded. "I'm not a soldier, but I know machines. I can make them work." The princess allowed him to access the control systems. Ethan moved quickly, rerouting energy to shields and activating automated defenses. He modified the turret's targeting protocols, making them more responsive to the attacker's movements. At first, the system struggled, but he adjusted on, the fly using patterns he had noticed in the enemy ship's approach. The first wave of ships approached, firing beams that grazed the energy barriers. Ethan's modifications helped slow their advance. Shields flickered but held, and automated turrets disabled several of the intruder's craft. Kaira watched him, impressed by his quick thinking. "You are clever, human," she said. "You may yet save this colony." Ethan focused, adjusting the systems with rapid precision. He noticed a group of attackers trying to bypass the main shields using small hovercrafts. He quickly calculated the trajectory and activated a defensive net that captured the craft before it could reach the outer buildings. The Thalvin guards looked on in astonishment. They had never seen a human act so effectively in real time. Strategy. Hours passed, the attacks coming in waves, each more aggressive than the last. Ethan's mind raced, keeping track of shields, turrets, and the positions of both Thalvin and enemy forces. Kara coordinated the guards, directing them to protect civilians and secure critical areas. Together they formed a system that blended human improvisation with Thalvin discipline. Finally, the last wave of attackers faltered. Ethan had anticipated their movements, predicting their retreat routes and shutting down escape paths. The remaining ships were forced to withdraw, leaving the colony intact. The alarms ceased, and silence fell over the courtyard. Kara turned to Ethan, her eyes bright with relief and admiration. "Human, you have done more than survive today. You have protected our people, our homes, and our empire. Many trained warriors would have failed under such pressure. You succeeded through intellect, adaptability, and courage. You have proven your worth beyond the trial of proof." Ethan exhaled, his chest heaving. I didn't think I could do all that. I just tried to fix the systems and react quickly. I never imagined it would work." Kara smiled faintly. "That is why humans are remarkable. You do not rely on tradition or strength alone. You adapt, you innovate, you think. That is a quality that the Thalvin have rarely seen, and it is why you were chosen." The council of warriors and diplomats came forward, offering nods and words of respect. "Human, you have saved the colony," one elder said. "Your actions were decisive and clever. You have earned our admiration and perhaps our trust." Ethan shook his head, still catching his breath. "I just did what I could. I relied on what I know, and I tried not to panic." Kara placed a hand on his shoulder, a gesture of respect and acknowledgement. "It was enough. Today, the bond between us and between our peoples has grown stronger. You have shown that being human, clever, brave, and resourceful can change the course of events, even in a galaxy that underestimates you." As the sun began to set over the colony, Ethan looked out at the horizon. The buildings were intact, the energy barriers stable, and the people safe. He realized that what had started as fixing a bed had led him to something far greater, the chance to protect lives, earn respect, and prove the value of human ingenuity in ways no one had expected. Kara walked beside him, her expression calm, but thoughtful. "Tomorrow there will be choices to make. But today you have shown that humans are more than simple creatures of habit. You are capable of brilliance, courage, and leadership." Ethan smiled, feeling a sense of pride he had never experienced before. "I guess being human has its advantages, huh?" Kara laughed softly. "Indeed, it does. And that is why you are no longer just a visitor. You are part of something greater now, human. Remember this day." As night fell, the colony rested safely, and Ethan realized that even in a world of advanced alien civilizations, humans had a spark that could not be ignored. A spark of cleverness, adaptability, and courage that might one day change the galaxy. The morning sun bathed the palace in soft gold as Ethan walked through the corridors with Princess Kara. The events of the past days, fixing the bed, understanding alien traditions, facing the trial of proof, and defending the colony, had left him exhausted but stronger. Today, the moment of choice had come. He would decide whether to accept the bond fully, not because of duty or tradition, but because of understanding, respect, and personal choice. Kara led him to the central courtyard, where the council and warriors had gathered. The courtyard was quiet now, the aftermath of the attack leaving the colony safe and peaceful. The Thalvin watched him closely, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and anticipation. Ethan felt a wave of nervousness but also determination. "You have proven yourself in ways no human has before," Kara said softly, her gaze steady. "You have faced trials of intellect, courage, and adaptability. You have defended our people. Now the choice is yours. You may accept the bond or decline. Your decision will be respected." Ethan looked around at the faces of the Thalvin, at the colony that had become his second home, and at Kara, who had guided him, challenged him, and trusted him. He realized that this bond was not a formality or a requirement, It was an opportunity to show that humans were capable of forming deep connections based on respect, understanding, and equality. He took a deep breath. I've been through a lot in the past few days. I came here thinking I was just fixing a bed, just doing a job. But I've learned so much about your people, about your culture, and about myself. He looked at Kara, her eyes bright and expectant. I don't want to accept a bond because I'm told to. I want to accept it because I respect you, because I want to learn and grow with you, and because I believe we can face challenges together as equals. Kara's expression softened. That is exactly what the bond represents: mutual respect, understanding, and partnership. You have spoken with honesty and courage, human. That is what makes the bond strong. The council members murmured among themselves, impressed by Ethan's words. Some had doubted a human could truly comprehend the depth of Thalavan tradition. Yet here he was, speaking with clarity, humility, and strength. His choice was not made lightly, but with intention and understanding. Ethan continued, his voice steady. I accept the bond. Not because it was expected of me, but because I choose it. I choose to respect your culture, to grow with it, and to face the future together with you. Kara stepped forward and extended her hand. Then, human, we begin as partners, as equals, and as allies. Together we will face the challenges ahead, and together we will show that humans are more capable and resilient than many believe. Ethan took her hand, feeling the firm, yet gentle grip. He realized in that moment that the bond was not about submission or power. It was about collaboration, trust, and the willingness to see beyond differences. It was about humans showing that intelligence, courage, and adaptability were strengths that could shine even in the vast galaxy of alien civilizations. The Thalavan warriors and council members stepped back, nodding in approval. They had witnessed something rare, a human not only surviving but thriving in a world that demanded respect, intelligence, and courage. They had seen ingenuity, problem-solving, and moral strength, traits that the Thalavan recognized as extraordinary. Kara smiled faintly. You have done more than meet the expectations of tradition, Ethan. You have shown that humans have qualities that can change perceptions, inspire respect, and even influence the course of events. Your bond is a symbol of what humans can achieve when they combine cleverness, courage, and integrity. Ethan chuckled softly. I guess all of this started because of a bed. Kara laughed, the sound light and melodic. Yes. Who would have thought that fixing a bed could lead to so much? As the day passed, Ethan and Kara walked together through the colony, discussing plans for the future. He realized that he was not just a guest, not just a helper, but a valued part of a complex and fascinating world. The bond was a choice. Yes, but it was also a recognition of humanity's unique strengths: curiosity, resourcefulness, and the ability to adapt and innovate under pressure. By evening, the sun was setting, casting long shadows across the courtyard. Ethan looked around, feeling a sense of pride and belonging he had never known before. He had faced trials, danger, and cultural challenges, and he had succeeded. He had earned respect, built trust, and proven that humans were capable of remarkable things. Kara stood beside him, her eyes reflecting the warm glow of the setting sun. Tomorrow and every day after, we will continue to learn from each other, to face challenges together, and to grow stronger. You have chosen well, human. Ethan smiled, feeling a sense of peace and determination. We'll face it all together, and somehow I think humans and Thalavan will surprise a lot of people along the way. As the stars began to twinkle in the alien sky, Ethan realized that the adventure was far from over. But he also knew that, as a human, he had qualities that could make a difference. A spark of ingenuity, courage, and determination that could illuminate even the most unfamiliar worlds. And he was ready for it. The bond was not just a tradition, not just a ceremony. It was a partnership. And, together, human and Thalavan, they would face the galaxy stronger and wiser than before.